and we have made it to episode 11 of the SBG Podcast. And today I would like to welcome my next guest, Mr. Ben Johnson, one of the business owners at the place that I'm currently employed at. It's fantastic to have you here.
Thank you. Before we get started, I did have one thing for you.
Hit me with it. Is it a pink slip?
It's a pretty well-known fact of you're a connoisseur of many things. So I wanted to bring you a gift, and I stole this idea from someone at the office. But yeah, it's my favorite brand.
Oh my God! This
Some
is
OE, baby.
So great because
Had to have the paper bag too.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I was like,
it's like unwrapping a gift,
yeah,
Christmas present.
yeah.
Like, this means more than you know, because the other day I was for Memorial Day, I went to the gas station with the explicit purpose of going to grab some Old Englishes.
Oh, nice.
And they didn't have any, and I
What?
was pissed off about it.
Bruh.
And I had a hankering for some OE, and so then
There you go.
the universe works in mysterious ways. Wow.
Yeah, actually, it was I was in high school, and one of my buddies had an apartment, and we were grilling burgers, and we bought every single 40 ounce of malt liquor at the 2 convenience stores that were near his apartment, and we had a.
And it costed $10 total.
Probably. Yeah, 90. That was probably 94, so it was probably pretty cheap at that point. It's still cheap, but
Oh my God.
yeah, we destroyed those hamburgers and got messed up. I think we had too many to drink, and we flipped them way too many times. It turned into ground meat, and it was just one of those little Old Smokies, so all the meat just fell into the coals. So we didn't eat that night.
Made for a fantastic story.
But we had plenty of malt liquor.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Did y'all get so turnt that y'all threw a burger at the ceiling?
No, we did not.
Because I did that one.
Is that a thing? Oh shit! Okay.
I don't think
Like
many
a
people.
cooked burger or
Oh, yeah,
a
it
raw
was cooked.
burger?
I was-
So you were checking it like it's like spaghetti, right? You have to see if it's done.
That's right, man. But in this story, we were at my old condo. Me and Abby had just moved into our condo together. We had just gotten a Costco membership and all this stuff, living high on the horse, having a pool party with our friends, and the liquor consumed us. And I was like, all right, I got this perfectly barbecued burger. It was on the bun. Had barbecue sauce on the top, and I was just like, oh, I just feel so squirrely. And I just fucking slapped that bitch on the ceiling. Oh, it was great.
Oh, that's fantastic.
The story lives in infamy with my friends for
I
sure.
would guess so. You always have been the creative type. To think of doing that with a hamburger, that is impressive.
When the feeling is right, you just got to do it,
Oh yeah, no doubt.
So let's dig into the real reason that you're here today. So you are... your current hustle, your main business is Techneaux.
Yes.
So why don't you give us the background about how you got into this business that you own currently?
Whew. Okay.
And we could take it all the way from its inception with
Yeah, I was
going
gonna
to
say, because I can babble for quite a long time. Hopefully, you got some good editing skills.
Oh, I
'cause
do.
This could get boring as hell.
The beauty of this particular podcast is there's not much editing at all, so that's why I can edit so well.
Yeah. So the story of Techneaux. For me, it probably goes back to I always knew I wanted to own a business. My grandfather owned Johnson's Grocery in Eunice with his brother, and got to see sort of. He let us go back there, and we kind of help him make the boudin and get to see him, cut up some meat and hang out and at the store, and got to see just the cool way he had an impact on the community. The people that would come in, they were just bullshit, and they all knew Joe and Wallace, and the way he was able to support his family with that, and kind of got to dictate his own life, And I remember being young and thinking that's what I want to do. And then on my mom's side, her mom had owned a business in Eunice. Her dad was a veterinarian, so was self-employed, and then my dad had started Icon, and my mom started several businesses. She's a little OCD with the entrepreneurship, but she was very creative and get things done. She would get bored with them quick though, and then like
really would she sell them whenever she was done with them, or she would just keep them?
Just kind of shut them down. Yeah.
Oh, just shut them down.
Yeah, just shut them down. Like we were living in Scott, and she had started. This was, I think, before like the Great American Cookie Company and all that stuff, and she was making cookie cakes out of our kitchen.
Wow!
And just started selling them like crazy. And so my dad actually built a kitchen in the backyard, and she started making them out of the house. And I remember going to it was a few places around Lafayette. I remember the Superstore the most, the one that is the theater now, the Grand. And we would put little things on people's windshields about, hey, if you need a cookie cake, and
that's pretty
so
awesome.
we kind of helped with that. Yeah. My sister owned a boutique in Lafayette. Anyway, it was just having seen that my whole life, and really seeing the impact it had on other people, because Icon was 200 people that they employed, and I was cleaning trash cans over there, and got to meet a lot of people, and now they probably just wanted a raise, but they always told me how great my dad was and what an impact on their lives he had. And,
put in the good word for me, sir.
Right. And I was like, man, I didn't see that at anywhere else, because I started working when I was 15. I started at McDonald's, and I worked at like TGI Fridays and coffee places, and it was like I can't do any of what I saw my grandparents and parents doing by working for someone else. It was always some other driving factor. So I always knew I wanted to, and my goal was 7 years out of college, I was going to start my own business. Ended up being 9. So I missed it by a couple of years, but Techneaux came about because I was getting frustrated with sort of typical corporations when they get bought out and go public, and Michael had he was disappointed in the way that the sale of his company went, and kind of saw it get destroyed when they went public. And it was during the .com kind of rise and fall, and they sold during the peak, and then the bust hit, and
it worked out pretty good then for that.
Yeah, but it destroyed the company, and he was always affected by that, and so that's where some of the principles for Techneaux came about. And I had kind of found a niche with the enterprise SCADA stuff with Signet. No one was doing it whenever I first started doing it. Signet was still trying to get into the automotive industry, is where they thought they were going to really hit it big. And then created a web hosting site using Signet. They're first ones to do that, and built that, and we kind of catered towards small oil and gas companies, and that just kind of rolled and took off, and I got expertise in that area, and built the team at W to about 30 people, and then started getting pressure of, hey, you can't do this thing, you can't give these people raises, you can't.
So at W, did you start up the SCADA team within that company? They didn't start it up, like it was your idea. How did you, and you had gained that knowledge from Icon and brought it there, or? No.
When I got to W Industries, I was doing controls work, so I was PLC and going offshore and doing.
So how did you
programming
have the intuition to choose?
I wish I could say it was something smart and profound. It just so happened that a couple other guys were messing around with Signet, and they needed to get something to this customer, and they didn't know what it was, and they were like, "Hey Ben, you know databases. You're a computer guy. You have a computer engineering degree.
Good with computers."
Yeah, and I was like, "I'll look at it. Let's look." And again, and I love those kind of challenges, because it was something they're like, Signet was like, "No one's ever used our product to do that," and it's like, "Okay,
really?
I'll figure it out."
Man,
as far as the web hosting piece of it, they obviously had some of the APIs and the web interface in order to allow you to do it, but they're like, you're kind of the first ones to do it, so we can't help, but we know it'll work. We know it'll be great. And so taking that and just building it up, and then realizing, okay, this has some legs. There's a lot more work than what I can handle. And I could have been really, I could have taken it the other way and said, hey, I've got true job security now. Like no one else can do what I do, and I'm just gonna hoard this, and I'm going to be the only one that works on this, and no one else can do it, and I'll have a job for the rest of my life, you know? But again, I kind of thought of, well, I know I'm going to want to start my business in a few years, so let me take this as an opportunity. And again, probably got a little help that my dad was Michael, because he was working there at the time. And W Industries had kind of let Lafayette do whatever they want, because they were owned by a company out of Singapore.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, a publicly traded company out of Singapore. And really their moneymaker was in Houston with the panel shop. And so we were all kind of a side thought, you know. They didn't, so they really didn't care. They were like, you can do whatever you want. I was like, I need to hire somebody. No, hire somebody.
Wow.
I was like, okay, I need to go get some customers. Go get some customers. I was like, all right, cool, I'll do it.
It's like a sandbox mode.
Yeah. And so I was like, I'm gonna still get a salary, and you're gonna let me do all this stuff, you know. So, yeah, and it just kind of snowballed from there, getting more customers on the hosted platform, and then I was thinking, how can I do networking? And Signet has a user group, so I went and presented what we had built, and then next thing you know, 4 or 5 customers come to me and say, hey, that was really cool. Like, we'd love to be able to do something like this. We don't have that exact thing, but can you come and help us? And I'm like, yeah, I need to hire some people. yeah, we can do that. Absolutely. You know, and so the team just kind of organically grew from that. So it wasn't, you know, it wasn't the traditional sense where, hey, here's $500,000, build a team and do some marketing, and I think you can kind of see that with Techneaux. It's been very organic, because that's kind of the only way I know how to do it, is kind of, you know, pull yourself up by your own bootstraps and just get it.
Oh yeah. The sink or swim method.
Yeah. Then and the anxiety and fear of failure at that point, because once it starts rolling, and it was like, oh, I've hired X amount of people, and now they're getting cars and houses and married, and you know, getting themselves a great homestead, and I'm responsible for making sure they can continue to do that. And so it kind of becomes self-propelling.
The existential dread drives you.
Yes, absolutely.
Man, props for that, because like back whenever I first started the LLC for my my video game thing, I was like, I couldn't even fathom like having even just one employee underneath me to like do anything. I was like, how would I ever like make sure that I could keep them busy, or like, you know, make it jive, and, you know, have the responsibility of paying them, you know, for something that especially with that stuff, it's like, I mean, like, what, $500 in a year? It's like, how would I make sure that I can pay them?
I can get $500. It's true. Yeah.
I could pay you in McDonald's coupons, but that's about it.
And there are some people that will work for that.
But yeah, that's crazy, man. So then took that leap, and then y'all made it to the garage phase of Techneaux.
Yeah, so we talked about how we wanted to make a different company, and we had, we did some side stuff, because I wanted to try to create a business that wasn't reliant on the enterprise SCADA side of things, because W Industry had given me the opportunity to build that, and I was really thankful and grateful for that. And so I didn't want to just, you know, take a bunch of customers, take a bunch of people, and peace out. You know, they had built that. They allowed, even though I had built it, they had funded it, and so I felt a responsibility to try. And so Michael and I were doing kind of a side hustle while we were at W, and they knew about it. I was very open with the CEO at the time, and said, you know, I'm looking at doing other things, so I'll be doing some work on the side, and they were fine with it. Didn't really pan out. It was the IT side of things, you know. And so when we decided to exit, we both said that, you know, hey, we're not going to pursue anyone at W Industries. We're not going to pursue any customers. We're going to try to do the IT side of things. But if customers start coming to us, we want to let y'all know we're not going to turn them down, right? We're not going to go and proposition those customers, because, but if you as W Industries aren't able to fulfill what they need, and they come to us, then, and there was a few customers that called right away, and I said, no, stick it out. We've got a good team at W Industries, you know. And eventually it just kind of it turned into where we got into the enterprise SCADA and controls thing, because that's what we were best known for. And it was customers that W Industries didn't even have either. But it was, So
what made y'all want to do the IT thing before the SCADA thing?
It was just computers. It was, you know,
it didn't really matter.
I knew I wanted to. Yeah, we wanted to start a new company with, and so the technology behind whatever the services were for Techneaux was not the point of creating the company. You know, it was the real drive behind it was creating a vehicle for people to own their own businesses, and creating something that was going to be perpetual and long lasting, and you could really focus on customers and people, and kind of, you know, help the community. And because look, if we wanted the quick, fast start and make some money fast, it would have been go to Houston. That's where all the customers were, you know. I'd already lived there. I could have easily moved there and started Techneaux there. But we wanted to do something for Lafayette, because that was one of the reasons I had to move, because there just wasn't a lot of technology jobs, you know. There wasn't a lot of opportunities for computer engineers or computer scientists. And
that's pretty cool. So like the foundation was very well thought out.
Yeah. Well, again, it was a lot because of what Michael had seen from selling a business and realized how disruptive it was. And it was you know, it's a bummer when you've hired all these people and made these commitments to customers, and you can't fulfill them, and you see it kind of go by the wayside. And there's other driving factors, you know, money being the largest part of it, because when it's a privately held or a publicly held company, you have the obligation to the shareholders, and the shareholders want one thing, and that's at every single business, you know, right now, and it's they want a return on their investment, and it's money, and that's what drives everything. And so we wanted to create a company where we're still focused on profits and making money, but it's not what drives our decisions. You know, what's more important is the people, the customers, the cool technology we get to work with, and hopefully keeping people excited. So that was where we had it most planned out, was that business model, and how we wanted to see it progress. The services that we offered were kind of secondary, you know.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I guess that's cool, because it lets, you know, you're not so focused on just being one thing that you would not incorporate other things, even though they would help, you know, that really help. Because now, you know, we have the rod with the communications and all these other you know,
bits. So the first two business units were enterprise SCADA and controls, and now we've got 6 of them, you know. So and that again kind of came organically in growth and what our customers needed, and how could we better serve them. And they stuck with us because they knew we did good work, and it's like, we'll give you some time to find somebody and get a little another hustle going in Techneaux. And
that's pretty great. And then y'all went to the Jefferson Street office, and then
so it was, you know, the first one was the garage, and that was I learned a few good things there. One, don't start a company when your wife's 3 months pregnant. She was not real happy about that.
You just chose the hard mode. That's
it. Yeah. She was like, "You just got a promotion. You don't have to travel as much anymore." And I was like, "I know, but now's the right time." She was like, "So you tell me people are going to come in and use our bathroom and drink my coffee?" And I was like, "Yeah, sorry."
Track their footprints on my kitchen floor.
And and when you're working at a garage, one of your first hires, you may not want to, you know, interview them at your garage, or because it might, especially if they're a woman, as Lauren got to experience. I think her sister dropped her at the house and then stayed in the driveway because she was like,
just to make sure.
I don't trust this. This is way too weird. So we then had all of our interviews at Applebee's, much more public and I think comfortable. Well, I don't know if it's comfortable anymore. But it was something. It wasn't a garage. So started getting closer to summer, and the AC couldn't keep up in the garage, so we looked to downtown, and we were growing.
with like computers in the garage too. I'm sure
Oh
that's
yeah,
like a sweatshop.
Well, and look, it wasn't. I mean, it's not like we were in the driveway, right? I kind of built a room, and so it was.
Okay.
It was decent.
It's like
you know,
partitioned off.
Yeah. There was a little door to get in. It was probably, half of this room size, wide, and then a little deeper, like a car, a car length with some extra room, whatever that was in the garage.
True neckbeard fashion.
Yeah. Yeah. So, as it started to take off, we realized we needed something a little better. And we were hiring people right out of college, so we said, "Hey, let's do downtown." And at the time, and they're still trying to do it, revitalize downtown and get attract businesses there as opposed to just the bars.
Yeah.
So we were like, "Hey, let's see if we can help out and try to grow that down there." And if it wasn't for their parking, we'd probably still be downtown, honestly.
Yeah, man.
But there was no real good spot for kind of traditional office. It was all traditional office space, and you know us, we won't have that open environment for a lot of different reasons, and I feel it's a good part of the company, so we needed something that was a little better. But yeah, downtown, affectionately known as Crack Alley, was a great spot for us for a while. It was good for when festival and other things. You needed some parking. We had that cordoned off for Techneaux people.
It just sounds like it would be a party. Like you just clock out and then you walk out.
Dude,
and
it was
bars
nice
all around. Yeah,
it was nice. There wasn't as much as I would have thought, like hanging out after hours at the bars and stuff. Yeah. Where we probably did spend most of our time was at the Carpe Diem getting gelato.
Oh wow!
The whole company would get up and walk out, and we'd go and have some gelato.
Yeah, that was pretty great.
But it was nice being down there with like all the good restaurants, and no offense to Scott, but they didn't exactly have all the options that you have downtown. So
there's no Uncle T's downtown,
right?
That was probably whenever they had like Frankie Burger. Was that still there?
I think it was at the time. Yeah,
that was pretty good.
Yeah,
that's great, man. And then now we're about to move out of the current place, which is it used to be an old furniture store. For those who don't know, I wasn't there whenever they were knocking out walls, but I wish that I would. I'm glad that I was there for the demolition of the new building, though. That was pretty cool. Testing out my baseball swings with a sledgehammer, knocking out them studs.
Yeah, we had to do that again. That was such a cool thing to do. To see a bunch of computer nerds with sawzalls and sledgehammers, and just grab some pizza and some beer, and we all kind of hung out and knocked down walls, and really had no idea what we were doing. It was really stupid from a liability and insurance standpoint. Looking back at it now. But hell, we did it again with the new office, so and nobody got hurt. Well, maybe I think someone took a sledgehammer to the leg, but
minimal,
minimal collateral damage.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everybody throwing handfuls of asbestos in each other's faces, frolicking around. It's a wonderland.
Yeah, I don't know what all that was coming out the walls, but I'm hoping it was not asbestos.
It was like a fair amount of just white mist in the air. I was like, I'm gonna trust this is not hazardous.
Yeah, and we did have masks, but no one was wearing them. All right, they're all covered in white stuff by the end of it. It was an adventure.
Yeah, so along the lines of marketing and networking, whenever you first realized that did you have to do a whole lot of marketing whenever you first started getting customers, or how did that go? I know you said you went to the conventions and stuff.
Yeah, we don't do a lot of traditional marketing for sure.
Now it's like word of mouth, right?
Yeah, it's really a lot of word of mouth and just going and meet people and talking and letting your project work kind of talk for you, We're pretty passionate about making sure we did things right. And when you do them right, not just from the technical sense, but from the customer sense as well, I think some people get too tied up in that sometimes and thinking I've got to be right technically. And if it's not 100% technically correct, then this project's going to fail. And that's not really the case in my experience. If you can make sure that what the customer wants gets done to 100%, it doesn't have to be the coolest, baddest, cutting edge,
most efficient.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it can be flat out wrong for how you would implement the right system, right? But the customer says, "Hey, nah, that's how we need it. That's how we operate. That's what we do." Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's
I'm
like
gonna do
enough of
you
their
know?
standard in there.
You gotta kind of take your ego back a chance, right? Because then there's always risks of, you know, another company buys it, or a competitor comes in and sees it and is like, "Oh, this is the kind of work you do. Oh, it's terrible," right? And it's like, well, the customer knows, right? I'm not worried about third party and other people after they've seen it and saying, "Oh, this is garbage" or whatever. And that doesn't bother me. To me, yeah. So I was getting off track, but yeah. So the work really spoke for us. Going out and just meeting other like-minded people.
And there wasn't like a whole lot of social media that played into.
Yeah, no, not at all. I mean, this was 2010 whenever we were trying to get going, and there really wasn't much of that at all.
You would have had to have advertised on MySpace to have been having a social media presence.
Yeah.
We got ConocoPhillips in our top 5 on MySpace, bruh. Hit the big time.
Them times. Yeah, so it was, and that was the first where the running joke came around of Michael being my brother. Was during those initial days we would go, and he and we would just, you know, who were contacts we used to know, and let's go call on them, see how they're doing, taking them to lunch or whatever. And at a couple of receptions when we would check in, they're like, "Oh, the Johnson brothers are here for you." And it was like, we're not brothers. It's my fucking dad. But okay. Yeah. And I think he just has good genetics, because I was talking with my sister the other day, and she was like, "Yeah, people have thought Dad was my boyfriend." I was like, "Okay, all right, cool." So it's not that I'm really old looking. It's more that he's just good looking for a 70-year-old man, I guess, or 60 at that time.
Good complexion, Mr. Clean look.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great. And now we do have a marketing team, right? That's going to be Shelby that does the marketing and stuff, and that has like social media presence, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, Shelby's going to be helping. At first, we're taking it slow, you know. She's going to be doing a lot of our internal facing stuff, because again, we're a services company, and our people are our biggest asset, right? They're the ones that make us the money, and they're also our biggest cost. So getting there and keeping them there, you know, so the internal branding for us is important to make sure that people understand what the company's about. We have the right look and feel to the company. And so I think that's where a lot of our efforts are going to be focused on at first, is kind of building our brand from the inside out. And to help with recruiting and retention, you know, that's a big deal for us. And then as we kind of get that look and feel internally, and what really speaks to us and our why are we doing what we do, then I think we can take that and turn that external in different platforms in different ways. But I want to make sure that it's being authentic is very important to me when you know, talk, because I always said I don't ever want to be a salesman, don't ever want to be a sales guy. And then somebody told me, you know, after 10 years being at Techneaux, they're like, "Ben, you're a sales guy. How do you think we got all this work? You got all this work, you know? You're a salesman." It was like, I guess so. And so whenever I started thinking about it, it was really just developing relationships, you know. And I think a lot of people think of it as sales, and they think of the used car salesman, or the, you know, the insurance guy, and no, I'm not trying to knock on any professions. It's just, it's a different environment, and, you know,
not approaching every
it's different
person.
Sales strategies, right? In those, and in the services business, what really resonated and was the relationship building, and the coming across and listening to people. We have that statement I think I've made a few times, and I tweaked it a little bit. You have 2 eyes and 2 ears, 1 mouth, so watch and listen twice as much as you speak. And I think that's really important when building relationships and just trying to get to understand a potential customer and what their needs are. You need to not not talk, like ask questions, but sit back and kind of let them do. And so with that comes a true authenticity around caring, and which is what our mission statement is, just all about helping people succeed, right? And so I want everything that represents us, I really want it to feel something around help or success, and again, to get that understood personally for us as a company, internally before going external, I think is a real important piece to marketing. Because if you're just out there throwing stuff on social media with no real rhyme or reason, and it might sink, one of those things is going to hit with someone, right? Maybe it was a stupid meme or whatever, and they're going to have this impression of who you are and what your company represents, and when they come to you to try to find out about it, if you're not in sync with that, right? Because you're just throwing whatever out there to see what lands. It's not going to resonate with them, and there's going to be something off, and they're going to be able to tell that, and you don't want to have to be something you're not. You don't want to be driven by different factors just because it was a cool thing to put out on social media and everyone was doing it, or I want to really make sure that we understand that. Sorry, long-winded answer on those things.
Perfect. Helps really show the whole package of what you're trying to talk about.
Yeah,
I'm all about the long response format.
Cool. Yeah. And it's also because I just suck at not great at marketing, and so it takes time to learn and understand. And like anything else we've done, it's organic, and I don't want to just push things out just because someone says, You've been in business 15 years and you don't have a marketing arm? It's like, no, we don't.
But that's interesting in itself, right? Because that's like, with what I've been doing with the game thing, it seems like mostly, all the talking heads on YouTube, that's what they all say, right? It's like, you got to get the marketing out there, and it's not like you're going to walk around and like hand people your game. So then a lot of it's through some sort of social media. Mm-hmm. And so on the flip side of the coin, the type of work that we do at Techneaux, it's interesting that it's all word of mouth. Like once you're able to get a good product, it kind of sells itself, and that's pretty cool. I wish that I could have such, organic marketing success like that.
Well, but you have to figure in the gaming industry, there's got to be tons of communities out there. They may not be local where you can go walk up to them,
I tried doing the Reddit thing.
I was going to say, I've seen things on Reddit where people are like, just like-minded people got together. And
it seems so like happy-go-lucky, right?
Yeah.
I tried... that was one of the big things. They were like, try Reddit and all this stuff. So I made an account on Reddit, and I think within 24 hours I got banned from my account.
Shut up.
Because I was like, all right, everybody here is just waiting to see what games everybody's putting out. So I found like 3 or 4 top rated. Well, like I went on the different threads or the different subreddits. And then so that I pitched it in each of those, but each subreddit has like a laundry list of do's and don'ts, and you have to most of them you have to be a member of it for like X amount of days, and like have liked and like commented on so many other posts, and I'm like, man, they banned me instantly. Yeah, it was a brutal realization. So now I've just been doing what is it? I tried TikTok, and I got banned on there recently.
Lord,
but I think I only had like 4 videos on there, and I think I got banned on my last one because I posted a clip from one of my podcast episodes where I talked about running over those guineas, and I think it was like probably some like violence towards animals type thing.
I would bet that.
I was like, man, y'all promote drinking, underage drinking until you fall down, but if I tell a story about running over a bird, So, social media has not been my best friend as of late, but I'm going to turn it around.
Yeah, you got plenty of time. You're playing the long game, man.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's where I think, you should be focused at, unless you are just looking to turn it around and make a quick profit or something.
Well, the long game for me is this right here, right? It's things that'll last. Because like with Facebook, you make a post, it goes, and then a day later nobody's gonna go back and like check it out, right? But like videos like this and like the games that I put out are out there forever, and it's just about like when it finally comes around, and like this will be here till YouTube gets destroyed by the sun, so then we'll be able to come back in a year or two's time and be able to see these videos,
or until there's 5 15-second ads that people are forced to watch and they just kill themselves because no one's gonna sit through it.
Oh, it's so brutal. I was like trying to put on a video, tangent right here, but a while back I was like putting random Coco Melon type videos on for my son. And I was like working out in the living room or something, or in the kitchen, and I noticed that it didn't sound like Coco Melon for like 5 minutes. I was like, what the hell? Did it like switch over into like something else? And it was like, it wasn't just like an ad. It was like an entire episode of a show, and it was like 25 minutes long.
You got to be able to hit that skip.
I was like, what the hell is this?
Oh, yeah.
It's longer than the
They'll
video.
Sneak that in on you.
Or like now, if I listen to a song that's like longer than like 6 minutes, they'll put an ad in the center of the song.
Oh, that's rough.
So brutal.
Just got to pay that $2.99, man. $2.99 a month, and then you can get rid of those.
Yep, and that's a marketing ploy in itself, right? Amazon is starting to bend people over, because now it's not enough that you have a subscription to Amazon Prime. You can watch Amazon Prime Video all day long, but now unless you have like the next tier up, they're gonna stick ads in Amazon Prime, even though you have the subscription. So it's like,
so with my Hulu account, I pay out the yan for it, and there's some that are like, this show has commercials. They're just like, we don't care that you pay $80 a month. This show has commercials. It's like, wow, all right.
What
so
you
want
do?
me to go pirate stuff again?
Yeah.
All right. You're forcing my hand here, Disney.
So brutal. So I usually have a segment where I talk about cooking in my show here.
Okay. All right.
Do you have a favorite dish that you enjoy cooking?
Ooh. So recently I've been doing a lot of baking.
Yeah?
I've been doing some pies.
You and David would get along just fine then, talking about that. He's been baking. He's just got a KitchenAid.
Did he?
like a mixer and
Jamie
all that stuff.
will not allow me to get one.
Really?
Yeah. She's like, we don't have any room for that.
I was about to say, not enough kitchen or cabinet space or whatever.
Dang. Yeah. Because we have the blueberries that like crushed this year. They were
that's awesome.
We like cross-pollinated the blue ones, and then the other one was called Pink Ladies, and man, they exploded, and we had our best harvest this year. And so I did like a crisp and a pie and some blueberry muffins with the girls, and all from scratch.
That's awesome.
We make the pie dough and everything, and also enjoy smoking meats. That's
wow, bro! I can't believe you'd say that on air right here.
This is a
had to get in with that
podcast. I think what the kids say now is pause. Have you heard that one? Yeah. So like when I would have said I enjoy smoking meats, you would say pause, and that's what she said or something to that effect. But it's pause, because my girls did that to me the other day, and I was like, what? So if you want to be down with the lingo, it's pause.
Noted.
Yeah.
I too enjoy smoking meats, my man.
Yeah.
I have a little electric. It's like a mini fridge. I think it's like called a Master Forge. It's not quite as large as a pellet smoker. That's probably what you have, right?
Yeah, I got the pellet smokers. Yeah.
I think if I did a brisket in there, I'd have to like take the racks out and then hang it or something.
Yeah. My in-laws, she'll buy the cut briskets already and do it on multiple. She'll separate the flat and the point. They come out horrific.
Really? I thought you were about to say.
I really hope she does not watch this. I've told her they're not the best. I haven't told her they're horrific, but yeah. No, it's tough to do. A piece of meat like that in that type of smoker is going to be really tough to do. But if you hung it, probably would be easier.
Yeah, but yeah, it's great, man, because it's like, especially pork. The pork chops, like we live right next to Rod's, which is like the staple of Church Point, right? It's been there since I was a kid, and probably much earlier than that.
Do they sponsor this podcast?
No, they do not. But
maybe I want to. Maybe so.
Old man Rod himself, if you're watching this in your recliner, we love your pork chops and your meat sales. Sponsor me, please. But yeah, they do like $1.50 a pound, like rotating on their different pork cuts. Mm-hmm. So you get like a platter of freaking pork chops for like $10, like that, right? And they're like something like that thick.
You smoke your pork chops, or you?
Oh yeah. Okay. So the secret sauce is I'll smoke them on hickory and applewood, right?
Yeah. You gotta do the sweet woods with the pork.
And then I'll have that in the fridge, and then we get that ramen, like the Shin Black or like the tonkatsu from like Costco, and it's like $2 a pack ramen versus like 50 cents per pack.
Bougie stuff.
Yeah, it's bougie. All right. And you put that smoked pork chop in there with a couple of eggs. It's very good.
Now, do you do the ramen eggs? I don't know how to do them. My girls absolutely love them.
I love them too, right?
I don't know how to make them. Do you like boil them before and then put them? I guess you pre-boil them and
if we're talking about
while it's cooking,
the
brownish eggs,
right? Yeah. I have no idea how to do that. I usually just cook like a sunny side up and then toss it in there.
Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I know what you're talking about. That's like one of my favorite things at what is it, Izumi?
Izumi. That's one of my girls. They love that, and the pork buns. They love those. They'll dominate those.
So that's a pork belly that's just rolled, and then I'm not sure how they cook it, but they sell that at Costco, like whole pork bellies. So if you ever wanted to replicate,
I've done that. Yeah, I've smoked some bacon before, or made bacon, and so I did.
How did it come out?
But you have to cure it for like
a couple days or like a week.
Yeah, it was like 3 or 4 days. I think I cured it for, and it was okay.
Did you use that pink salt?
Yes. Yeah. I got on. And I now have a shit ton of it because you can't buy a sprinkle of it like you need from Amazon. I've got like 50 pounds of the junk, and I need to do it again because it came out okay. It came out okay, but I get so worried about meat spoiling. Yeah. And like an idiot, I did 2 pork bellies worth of bacon because I was like, I want to do some brown sugar on one, and then I want to make one a little more savory.
Oh yeah.
And so I just had so much that it was like I can't use all this, and ended up wasting it.
And then it comes out like pretty salty, so it's not like you can use it like a typical other smoked meat.
Yeah.
I did the same thing. I mean, like a whole pork belly worth, and I was like, this is gonna come out great. And then I was like, I don't know.
And then I do sushi sometimes. It's been a while since I've done sushi, but I'll roll it and prep. Me and Jamie will prep for 3.5 hours, getting all the stuff ready, and we'll have neighbors over and roll them there. I got a little torch, and I'll torch it while I do it, and fry some shrimp and shrimp tempura, which is really hard to do. I haven't gotten that down yet. The batter for the shrimp tempura, I can't get it like as light and crispy.
Y'all ever dabbled in any kind of raw fish?
Oh yeah,
fills?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, like you go to Fresh Market or something, and you get the ahi tuna. So that's the same kind of tuna they use in the sushi places. Yeah. Same thing with salmon. You can get sushi grade salmon.
I have been wondering forever where you would even get like sushi grade raw fish, because that's the last hurdle. Like I spend, it's like, what is it, like $30 for you to get decently full on sushi by yourself for just one person?
You're lucky if it's only $30.
Yeah, and then it's like I would love to figure out how to just make it to where, because I've got the kit, and I'll usually do like spam sushi or like smoked salmon, but I love the raw stuff. And if I could just figure out where to get it, but you said
Fresh Market was where I always got my stuff.
I'm gonna have to hit that up because that's like the last bastion. I would love to have a huge slab of just like raw salmon on there. It's like my favorite.
Yeah, it's good stuff. And then probably what my family enjoys the most is my steaks that I'll do.
Yeah.
So we try to like fillets, and I'll sear them on the stove first in the stainless, 2 minutes on each side, then put the oven that's high max it'll go, and it's about 3 or 4 minutes on each side. And you got to make sure you get that big chunky salt. Dry it down real good, get the coarse salt and pepper, and that's all you got to do on both sides, and it makes that nice crust. And you can baste it. You can throw it with a little butter at the end. You kind of take it out and butter and thyme and just kind of baste it for a little bit. But don't really do that much. Savali did that a lot. He liked
Yeah, man. I also make a pretty mean steak.
But yeah, we don't need to go to restaurants. Like yeah.
And it's like once you figure out how to make a good steak, then when you do go to a restaurant, you're like, I'm paying $30.
I'm just
for
judging
this.
the shit out of these things.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you didn't even get it to temp. This crust is horrible. Like, yeah.
Yeah, recently, I say recently, I've been doing this for a little while now, but I mean, my thing was I was trying to find, not a super price. I go to Rod's for all my meat, right? So then I don't usually get like dry aged anything from there.
I like dry aged stuff anyway, to be honest with you.
Really?
It's got a weird taste to it for me, for my liking.
But so I've been getting like, $6 a pound freaking sirloins, and they can be pretty baller if you cook them right?
Oh yeah, I bet.
So then, I used to do the reverse sear where I'd do the oven first and then sear it in the pan afterwards once I got the the whole steak to temp. But then lately I've just been kind of lazy. I'll let it get room temp and then just sear it, and then however it comes out in the middle is fine, as long as it's like medium rare or medium. Right. It's not going to be like the same gradient throughout the whole thing, but at least it'll be,
Yeah, if you want that, like I've got a sous vide at the house.
Yeah.
And so I'll do the sous vide and then just sear it. But I do find it, for some reason, the texture always feels a little different when I do it in the sous vide,
it's like
especially with chicken.
Rubbery kind of.
I don't know how to describe it. It's just different. I don't know if something happens because of the longer cook.
Because of the microplastics infusing with it.
Maybe so. That might be it. The Ziploc that I put it in has seeped into the meat.
Just tastes kind of plasticky. I can't put my finger on it. I got a funny story about the sous vide at the office. One time I was like, and I told my wife this, and she was like, what were you thinking? What? But it, in my brain, I'm not used to seeing temperatures, right? Or like seeing temperatures as far as like thinking that they're hot,
like on
right?
A digital thermometer, you mean?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right.
And so then when you see 125 degrees or 130 degrees on a thermometer in some water, it's like, okay, our body is like 98 point something, 130, it's 30 more degrees. It can't be that much hot, And so then back in the day, whenever that sous vide was rolling at the office, they had the spoons to like weight down the bags of chicken in there, and I didn't have any spoons in the drawer, so they had some sitting at the bottom of this boiling pot of water.
No.
And I was like, 125 degrees, 130. It's like, I can see the temperature. I can't think, So I was like, man, I'm just gonna grab the shit up to here in like 130 degree water. It's hot. It is not hot.
I would not recommend that.
I learned a valuable lesson
Maybe you
about
can
temperatures.
edit a disclaimer on this part of the video. Kids, do not try that.
Don't reach into...
It's not as cool as it sounds, trust me.
It was warm, that is for sure. It didn't like give me blisters, but, it taught me a valuable lesson. But what I was going to say about the steak was... I've been oven roasting like whole cloves of garlic, like the whole bundles of that, and then I'll like smash them out into some butter with some rosemary, and then make that sauce right there. And I have some pictures I might be able to post on that, and then I'll like smush it all over the top of the steak, and that's what I'll do for that.
I know it's supposed to be easy. I've tried doing it before. I can't get it.
What is the?
Maybe I'm not cooking it long enough.
Is the texture of the garlic coming out wrong?
Yeah.
Is it like too hard or not hard?
Too hard. Yeah.
So, usually, are you putting any kind of like oil in there?
Maybe I'm not putting enough.
I had that same problem. Usually, I'll use like a little pan, and I've seen like if you put I've done it to where if you put the clove down, like you cut the top off and that's exposed, you put it down like that. That can work to where it's all steaming in there and you got the oil in there.
Oh, okay.
Or if you just leave it up with the top exposed and you pour the oil inside of it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes whenever I put it down like that, when I pull it up, they'll have some cloves still stuck on that, but it still gets it to the right consistency.
My mother-in-law has this nice little it's an electric one that you plug in, and it's in the shape of a garlic, and you take it out, and she does the garlic in there, and it comes out awesome.
Dang, that is pretty great.
You get like some little crackers, and you just put it on there, and that's awesome. But I love the garlic butter thing. Because I tried doing a couple of aiolis. I started making my own mayonnaise because it's just so much better than the store-bought stuff, bro, and it's so easy to make.
I keep going back to David.
David
has been texting me. Yeah, man, it's great. Y'all are on the same wavelength with that. He'll text me like, check out this aioli that I just made because he's getting all this new kitchen stuff. Yeah, and it'll be, homemade, all this. His recent thing, I think he just got a stomach bug, but his recent thing was he had made the buns and ground the meat and made the aioli, and it was like all handmade burger stuff.
That's intense. I don't know. Breads are a tough deal.
I'm not a super fan of baking, but I do like sauces.
It's a lot of work.
I've never tried to make an aioli myself, but I have tried to do like several like sweet sauces with a savory dish, like a cranberry butter wine and rosemary sauce is super good with like brown red meat. It's very
Sounds good. Yeah.
But yeah, man, aiolis. How did that come out?
Oh, awesome. I love, and just like making your own mayonnaise, because you can use lemon or garlic, in
infuse
the mayonnaise. Yeah, and that's what an aioli is. It's mayonnaise with shit in it. So,
it's fancy.
So we would just make it the little emulsifiers.
Yeah.
1 egg, the cup of oil, and your surprisingly enough, you have to use mustard to make mayonnaise.
Really?
You use mustard powder from mustard seeds.
I did not know that.
And then your acid, so some lemon juice or something like that, vinegar, whatever else you want to put in, and then you literally just the emulsifier, and you start at the very bottom so that you're mixing the egg first, and then you slowly bring it up so it brings the oil in slowly into the egg, and then it's... Wow. And you got a cup full of mayonnaise. And then you can throw in whatever you want. Any herbs or spices or, yeah.
Man, we have a shitload of eggs out there these days. I'm going to have to try that. I'm going to have to send you home with a 12-pack of them if you'd like some. Yeah.
I would absolutely love some.
You said your neighbor used
Our
to
neighbors had some, and he got rid of them.
Dang.
Now I've got the new potential sister-in-law. They're engaged to my brother-in-law. So, and they've got some chicken, so she's been filling that for us for a little bit, bringing us some eggs, but
nice.
It's not as frequently as when the neighbor had them, so I will absolutely take some.
Yeah, we've been getting between like on the low end we'll get like 5 or 6 a day, and then on the high end we'll get like 12 to 13.
Damn, you're getting a dozen a day. Good Lord.
It's a lot, yeah. And we only eat like 7 or 8 in the morning.
What the hell are you doing with them then?
Yeah, stocking them up, yeah.
Really? Yeah, because they do last longer when they're fresh, right?
And then
they said if you don't wash them, and
I mean,
it's better.
We wash them off, and then we put them in the fridge, and they keep long enough. I mean, they're not gonna sit there for a extended duration, but for the times whenever they don't lay too much, that's where the surplus comes in handy for sure.
Yeah.
But yes, it's been a journey owning chickens, man. It's crazy. The homestead thing in general, it just like it drags you over the coals. Like I don't even really do very much homesteading compared to a lot of people. Probably if you're watching this and you have multiple acreage and doing stuff, you know what I'm talking about. But it's like predators and like making sure that they all have feed and housing and everything's hunky-dory out there. It's like a job in itself.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
It's crazy. Like I had an entire, and it's like you can't leave anything up to chance, you know what I mean? Just like the rabbit cage. Like, I didn't tie it down and there was a random windstorm. Yeah, and it just blew this shit over. So then I'm out there and
I've got homeless rabbits now.
Yeah. It flipped it over and it threw it like 8 feet. And all the rabbits were just like hopping around in the middle of this storm and shit going on.
So you didn't have to skin one? There was no dead?
No, they were all alive. I was very surprised. But it was funny to see the different reactions of the different animals, because like we took the dogs in because they're actually like intelligent enough to be afraid of spooky weather. But the goats were out there just like vibing, and it's just like sideways rain hitting them in the face. They couldn't be any wiser to it, But yeah, man, it's like if you don't lock the damn chickens up every night, you're gonna get coyotes in there. If you don't have guard dogs, you're gonna have coyotes in there. Insane.
Yeah, that seems, it sounds like fun to have. It really does. And then hearing people like you talk about it, it's like, that's so much work. I don't know.
The fun, I think.
I romanticize it in my head of retiring and having, cows and chickens and goats and all that. But I'm like, man, whenever I'm retired, I don't know how I'm going to want to do all that stuff. I better have enough for some farm hands to pay them.
Or our grandkids coming to work. Yeah. It's the memories, I think, and the if the world ever stopped turning, you got some sort of sustenance out there. I mean, I for sure know that it's not enough to last past a month, but it's some bartering material. But it's just like you were doing with your daughters with the blueberry bushes, right? It's like they're gonna remember that forever.
Absolutely.
So then I guess it's mostly that part
memories,
of it.
Yeah, no doubt. That's been a great part to it.
And do you have any other garden happenings besides the blueberries, or is that?
Yeah, we got right now our garden. We've got cucumbers. We just pulled the beets and had a nice little beet salad. That was good.
Nice.
Tomatoes.
How big were the beets?
Okay. The beets were about yay big.
Nice. That's pretty good. I've only ever been able to get them to about like that, but in the back area where I was growing them, it got so wet. I think that's probably what stunted their growth. But the fresh ones, man.
I have the raised garden beds.
You do?
Yeah. So maybe that helps with the drainage. And we have banana peppers, and we always have okra because the okra grows absolutely insane back there for some reason.
What do y'all do with okra? Because I know it's like you grow a bunch of it, but you can't really.
A lot of stews and gumbos, chicken okra gumbo. Jamie doesn't really like to fry stuff, because I think that would be great. Fried okra is always good. And then a little bit of bartering with the neighbors. Some of them have their own gardens, and no one really does okra, and so we'll bring over some okra, and we can usually get some other stuff out of it.
Bartering is fun.
It is.
It's a skill in itself.
It is.
I had a neighbor bring over, and here's a pro tip too. If you just have a cage that can house medium-sized animals, you would be surprised if you had neighbors or on Facebook or whatever. People give away animals constantly because they take on the responsibility and then they can't figure out what to do in the long run with it. So people will give you free animals all the time if you just have a means to house them, and then you can take them and then barter with them to do other stuff. Yeah. So then
I've seen it at Petco's or at during Easter, they put up signs, "We are not selling rabbits right now," because so many people during Easter get rabbits and then realize we can't handle these things and immediately bring them back.
Yep.
So they don't even sell them at Easter anymore.
That's hilarious. Yeah. Well, I had a neighbor that he's given me a handful of rabbits that he couldn't deal with anymore, but he had a rooster that he came into his possession, didn't want it anymore. And it looked super cool, and I didn't have any use for it, but I took it because I knew I'd be able to trade it to somebody for something. And then I ended up trading it to some dude down the road for a laying hen. So it just made its way around, I've done similar things with the rabbits. I traded Mark a couple rabbits for a couple roosters back in the day. So it's interesting what you can get for that.
Maybe we should have a bartering channel in teams.
Oh, for sure, man. It's great. I dig it for sure. Because, it's like you have surplus, right? And to you, it's like, oh, what the hell am I going to do with all this okra? Compost it? I got too much now. But then somebody might be like, man, I'll give you a bunch of eggs or whatever.
I think there was some video back in the day of a kid, starting with a paperclip and then bartering up to a Porsche or something ridiculous like that. It was like, wow, all right.
Yeah, it was pretty great. I would support the bartering channel for sure. I think it'd be a hit. So we'll get to the last segment right here.
Okay.
Which is the root of this entire podcast, which is gaming.
Gaming.
I know for a fact that you used to play a whole lot of Dota. Is that?
Oh, good Lord.
Is that your preferred type of game?
Used to. No, I don't know why I got so hooked on it, to be honest with you.
Hit the right sensors in the brain.
People were posting their hours played on games. in the gaming channel the other day, and I think I had 13,000 hours in Dota.
13,000?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And I think some nights I had just left the computer on with the game on. I had to have been. There's no way I put that much time into it, but it was fun. It was neat just trying to be a part of a team and trying to get people all on the same page without them dropping too many F-bombs and the toxicity part of it is. I always like trying to do things as a team, but no, I mean I've really enjoyed. Let's see, what am I playing right now? I'm playing Fallout 4 right now.
Yeah?
Yeah, because Jamie and I watched the series,
yes,
which was great. Have you seen it?
Oh, yeah. It made me want to play it for sure. Again, I've already beaten it.
I had never played any of the Fallout games.
Really?
None of them, yeah. So,
and how are you liking that one?
I'm liking it, man. It's different. It's, I guess, like the games, like let's say like Witcher, where your quests, like your main mission. Like it literally says on your quests, main mission, side missions. And I find most games kind of have that nowadays, where it's like, okay, you can go do that stuff if you want. Fallout 4 they don't give you any hints or anything. Kind of, right? The main storyline is about finding your son, and so there's things that are more like that, but it truly was open world and like figure this shit out. And I was normally, because I know the main quest, the side quest, it's like, okay, I know these side quests are going to be easier, so I'm going to go do these first, and I'm leveling up, and so by the time I get to the main quest, I'm just dominating everything out there, because I've got the best armor, or I've got so much XP, I'm way over leveled for where I'm supposed to be, and that wasn't the case with this one, man. I'm walking into things, and I'm like, oh, it's got to be a side quest, this isn't part of the, and I just destroyed. And it was like, oh god, like I don't know how to do armor. I gotta figure out this crafting shit. I'm trading bottle caps. What the hell? I don't even like where are the vendors at. They're nowhere's to be found. This death claw thing has killed me 18 times in a row, and I have no idea what this stupid power armor is supposed to do. Like apparently it looks badass, but I'm getting absolutely slaughtered by that very first one in the game. And it's like, but I didn't even, some of the things they could have done better, like the perks, the special menu, like I literally, it starts at the top. It's your strength, persuasion, or whatever, perception, and all of where you're putting in your core points, right? Well, everything below it was grayed out, and I thought, like once I got to a certain level, they would light up. And I would be able to select them, to pick them. No, apparently you could choose them at any time. So I maxed out all of my just core strength, stuff. Intelligence, not knowing. And then it's like, oh, you can just go and pick it at any time. That's why it's grayed out. And then another thing was in the main menu, there's like, I could see clearly 4 levels. So I was like, okay, there's only 4 levels. There's no arrows. I can't hit up or down or anything. Yeah, I just had to take the mouse and scroll down, and it opened up like 6 other levels of perks. And I was just like, I'm 40 hours into this game, and I feel like an idiot. Because I hate going online and looking up stuff. And, I like, that's really what I enjoy, is a storyline and things. And that
games. Game has an awesome story.
It has a great story. Sure. I mean, you see your wife get shot in the face in the opening scene. It's like, holy moly. That's why I loved Witcher. Witcher 3 was just such a great story there. Horizon has been one of my favorite games I think I've ever played.
I got like halfway through that one, and I didn't stop playing because I just like gave up on it. I was like game sharing with my buddy, and then our accounts got like screwed up. But I enjoyed that one a lot too. Yeah, I like the Dark Souls-esque type combat where it's like very calculated. Not, you don't like that too much?
Bruh, I have so much stress in my regular life. It's like, why would I just, it's tough for me to imagine wanting to get into a game that makes me want to rage. And again, Dota was kind of like that. People would say, well, why the hell were you playing a MOBA? But it was really, I haven't gotten into those. But,
well, Horizon,
I'm running out of games, so and I've watched some streamers get into Dark Souls recently, and I was like, all right, I could see where this is fun.
Yeah, Horizon is like a lighter version of that combat style. If I were to jump into it, I would say go for Elden Ring, because that's like the most polished version that they have come up with, and then go backwards, because Dark Souls 3 would then be like the runner-up, or Sekiro. I haven't played Sekiro.
Is Sekiro in the same vein?
Yeah, but I haven't played Sekiro yet, but Dark Souls 3 was definitely pretty excellent for that. But yeah, for Fallout 4, man, I definitely remember that game, because they did such a good, how they did the story. Mm-hmm. It made you feel guilty for choosing
no matter what,
which faction. Yeah, and it like left a lasting impression. I was like thinking about the shit after I was done. I was like, man, should I have gone with these guys?
Yeah,
like,
you see, I'm like 50 hours in now, and I'm trying to play all the factions still. Like I haven't gotten to it, but I can tell it's coming. Where it's
you
like,
haven't had the crossroads yet, where you have to choose.
I haven't had any of those yet. Yeah, because I'm like with the Railroad, with the Brotherhood of Steel, with the Minutemen.
Yeah,
I just got to the Institute, and I'm kind of doing stuff for them now, and I feel like such a traitor to all of them. And I'm like, I just want more XP, bro. I just want to get cool weapons.
The ending is so great. Once you hit it, you definitely gotta let me know. I was hoping that they would have like stayed true to that in the series, but I guess that they didn't. But it was still good. I definitely enjoyed it.
They're gonna have more of it, huh? I mean,
I'm sure
the way it ended, it didn't really end. It seemed like there'll be more seasons.
The cliffhanger for sure. But yeah, man, the stories in games, because that's what I found. That's what I like drive off of for my games is the story, because that's like one of the main things that I know I can do decently. I can't really like create crazy graphics or anything, but I can. So then I draw inspiration from a lot of different great stories of games. And like, have you ever played Dead Space? Like the original one? No,
I haven't. That's the one with the 3 lines on the helmet.
Yeah.
Or was that Mass Effect? No, I think that was Dead Space.
If you ever have downtime, you're looking for another story with excellent gameplay and story, that one's a fantastic one. It's grimy and space, Oh,
I love the sci-fi kind of
space horror.
Yeah. Any game that I can feel immersed in the story, like, that's my jam. I really enjoy that. Again, it's probably part of just wanting to be removed from my
the stresses of the
day-to-day life. Yeah.
I hear that, my man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was another one I was playing? Balatro, I think is the name. It's like poker, but it's kind of a deck builder.
I saw Eric playing that the other day, and I investigated that.
Kind of fun. Yeah. It's a good thing. Kind of waste time, and I enjoy deck builder type games. Just coming up with cool combos that maybe people haven't thought of, and trying to see how things interact with each other. Those are the things I don't need stories, because I'm so involved in trying to the mechanics of it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that was once I discovered deck builders, because what got me into that genre at all was Magic the Gathering, the card game, and I started playing that because of my old metal band, Cut Through the Dawn. And they were all, hardcore, these big intimidating dudes and shit. And they would break time and they'd bust out the magic. Yeah. I was like, all right, I can get down with this,
Yeah.
And we played that. But the downside of that type of a game is that everybody can show up to the game with a $300 stacked deck and just wipe the floor with everybody else, right?
Yeah.
So then the deck
Talk
builder,
with the tenants.
Yeah,
it's like, all right, dude. Yeah, we can play Magic. Y'all are on a different level.
I'll play Magic as long as I can use one of your $500 decks against you.
Oh, and they'll let you, and they'll still mop the floor with you. I mean, yeah.
But the deck builder was the middle ground between that and, too simple of a game. It's like perfect because everybody gets the same even playing field, you know. I really enjoy that.
And those elements of just luck and chance and
keeps you coming back
to
for
the
more.
Actual strategy. Yeah, it's like, man, if that next card, I was so close to
Slay the Spire all the way.
Slay the Spire, yeah.
I don't think I've ever successfully there's like 2 builds that I wanted to do, and they were always stacking your defense for your offense. It would be with the Juggernaut trying to get his armor so that you could do like the where is it? You don't lose armor after your round or whatever.
Oh,
And then you keep
doubling
doubling your
never
armor.
Make those work.
I know, right? Like the combo is there if you could just get the right cards, and it's just never happen. It's that one, and then the robot guy. You can do a similar thing with him, so you keep stacking up your armor.
Keep stacking the orbs,
and then the cold orbs. Yeah. But I eventually do want to try and make a deck builder type game or any kind of card builder game. It's just on my list of to-dos. But I love anything that has like cool mechanics like that. It's very neat. Or if you're just in the mood for like a rogue-like game, they have Tiny Rogues, which Eric turned me on to. Very fun game. A lot of unlocking and progression there, and it's like old school. They even did the where it looks like an old what is it, QRC TV? Is that where it's got like the waviness of
CRT.
CRT TV, and it's got like the waves coming through. They have that like effect overlay of the whole screen. It's tight.
Tiny Rogues?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to.
Sounds familiar. I don't think I've.
I'll have to send you that one. It's pretty fun. I definitely dig it.
Yeah.
But you got any closing words now that we're getting towards the end of it?
Oh, good Lord, no.
Any shout outs you'd like to hit people with? No. Shout out Dana for always keeping the pantry stocked, my man.
Yes, that's a well-paid man right there. He keeps everyone happy, keeping the culture going.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm just still loving it. Every day's an adventure, and I love the fact that you being able to come and work with us, and again, your interview was still one of my most memorable because you were I mean, you were the first guy that brought like supporting documentation. No one else had done that, right? And you were like, here's the circuits I built, and here's the stuff I did for my dad's company, and like you were on it. It was like, shit, all right. So if you're looking to get a job somewhere, bring anything of stuff that you do on the side like Jacob did, because that was a huge reason why I was like, all right, we can give you a shot, because this dude is just unique and good stuff. I don't think you had the beard and everything, did you?
I was much more clean cut. I probably had like a more shaved
clean cut at the time. But I would have hired you probably without the supporting documentation. With the beard, that would have been
thank you, my man.
But I love that Techneaux is able to help support these types of things, and so shout out to everyone, I guess, at the office that keeps this thing going, because it's taken on a life of its own, and there ain't one person that can keep it going. It takes all of us really to keep things going.
Amen to that. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Until next time, everybody.
All right.
Peace out.
Later, everybody.